If you're like me, you're curious as to what separates the best from the rest. And look, it's obviously a blend of working insanely hard, along with talent and a sprinkle of luck here and there, to get our idols to the top of their game. But what really are some of the underlying traits that allow for this? Well, this video will explain 3 simple traits of high performers that you can apply to your own craft. The author and academic James P. Cass distinguished between finite and infinite games. The former are those whereby you play for the purpose of ending play, within specific boundaries and rules such as chess or any sport imaginable. Whereas the infinite games are those which are played for the purpose of continuous play, and there are no clear endpoints, so think business or politics. Now, the interesting thing with high performers is that although they typically find themselves operating within a finite game, they actually end up playing an infinite game. Because in their eyes, they don't see finish lines, they don't think that those exist. Instead, they see their lives and purpose as an infinite cycle of getting better every single day. You see this through stories of elite athletes like Cristiano Ronaldo winning the Champions League and then immediately heading into the gym at 3 AM after flying home. Or his former teammate Rio Ferdinand, who has openly said that he wants to be known for something other than football in 10 to 20 years' time. For the very best, you could call them obsessed, but you could also call them doers. Sure, they have specific goals of winning trophies or reaching particular achievements, but in the grand scheme of things, they just see these as checkpoints on a never-ending pathway of life that is all about improving. The main goal is to apply your gifts or talents to something worth applying them to every single day. And that's what not only allows high performers to reach their level, but also stay there. Usain Bolt is the fastest person in the world ever. At the 2008 Beijing Olympics, he broke the world record for the 100 meters with a time of 9.58 seconds. But what fueled this history-making moment? A box of 20 chicken nuggets. That's right, apparently during his 10 days at the Olympics, Bolt ate 1,000 McChicken nuggets. Hardly the nutrition of champions, right? Well, Usain Bolt, like many other top performers, get to a point where they just understand what works for them. They may try new diets, training plans, pre-performance routines, but they won't bend over backwards to integrate the newest fad or gimmick if to them it just doesn't feel right. If you've ever read, watched or listened to content about morning routines of successful people, then you'll know that while in some cases there are some similarities, most of the time each person is unique in their own way. Elite performers are elite because they are more self-aware than they are other-aware. They will obviously pay attention to the competition where necessary and also pick up on things from other people they can learn from, but for the most part they're just primarily concerned with themselves, realising who they are, what works for them, and then religiously sticking to it. Just remember that the top performers we know and love are often celebrated because they stand out and are fundamentally unique. So if you want to replicate them, the best thing you can do is zone in on what makes you fundamentally you. Now, this last one is something that I don't think people talk about anywhere near enough, and it's this overarching lie that high performers constantly tell themselves and others all around them. The idea that they do what they do solely for the benefit of their family. That's simply not true. People who do everything for their family actually hone in their ambitions so they can actually be around with their family a lot more. If elite athletes were all about doing it for their family, then they would retire at the earliest possible time to actually enjoy life with their family and to stop missing countless birthdays, Christmases, and family events because they're always on the road playing. Earning a few extra $1 million at that point makes no difference to them, so they can't use the excuse of financially looking after their family. And look, any child would 100% rather have their mum or dad at home more than to get to live in a slightly bigger mansion. The hard honest truth is that high performers fundamentally do it for themselves. This doesn't necessarily mean they're selfish, but they're often wired in a way that means they want to push themselves to their absolute limits. They want to fulfill their potential and keep breaking through barriers, even if it means sacrificing time spent with loved ones. Many high performers won't openly admit this, but they always put themselves first. And it's exactly that attitude and mindset that gets them to the top in the first place. And this is not necessarily a good or bad thing, it's just reality. And it's something you have to consider if you yourself want to reach the top of whatever you're pursuing. There are, of course, other traits that make high performers as successful as they are, and some of them are actually quite surprising. So check out this next video here to find out more.